Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Spring Independent School District. It is now officially called to order on Tuesday, December 12th at 7:02 p.m. Board of Trustees present are Trustee Adams, Trustee Correa, Trustee Hodges, I can't see them, Trustee Durant, Trustee Jensen, Trustee Newhouse, and Trustee McDaniel. I would like to ask everyone to turn off or silence their cell phones or any electronic devices. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask our Board Vice President, Trustee Adams, to begin the meeting by reading the Spring ISD Equity Statement.
Thank you, Madam President. Spring Independent School District strongly believes in educational and racial equity as fundamental aspects of its core mission and purpose, embodied through any program, practice, decision, or action that affects all students, with a strategic focus on those choices and policies that most strongly impact marginalized students. We believe all students, regardless of their ability, cognitive, physical, or social emotional, ethnicity and language, race, religion, gender identity, and status, should have equitable access to opportunities, resources, support systems, and educational rigor in order to maximize their academic success and social emotional well-being. We believe every Spring Independent School District student is valuable and possesses individual strengths and characteristics that make our district a great place to learn and grow. Moreover, we seek to act on that belief, instituting policies and practices that value diversity, committing ourselves as a district to continued growth and development, and working to support the success of every student in all that we do.
Thank you, Trustee Adams. Tonight's presentation of colors will be led by Carl Winchie Senior High School Honor Guard. I want to welcome them. It's the first time they've been here to kick off our board meeting with the pledge. The pledges will be led by Honor Guard Commander Shamira Williams Foster. The Honor Guard member that's carrying the U.S. flag is Commander Shamira Williams Foster. Carrying the Texas flag is Sergeant Ashiana Stewart. Left rifle is Corporal Priscilla Palmer. Right rifle is Cadet Leah Mendez. The Carl Winchie Senior High School Honor Guard is led by instructor Waylon Randolph, Edward Price, and Lakeithia Collins. At this time, will everyone please rise? Forward, march, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Honor guard. Halt. Pose. Colors. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Order, arms. On guard, dismiss. If everyone could please remain standing. Great job, Winchie, Carl Winchie. At this time, I'd like to ask those present to please quietly observe a moment of silence in your own way. Thank you. You may be seated. Our next item this evening is the superintendent's remarks. So we will now hear from our super proud superintendent of schools, Dr. Lapita Hinojosa.
Thank you, President Durant, and good evening to everyone that's here tonight with us and those watching us on Zoom. I do want to start with this little tambourine here. Just to celebrate, today I was able to join our Education Foundation, our Spring ISD Education Foundation. Ms. Newhouse serves on the board. Dr. Jensen also joined us, and they actually got on a bus, on a school bus, and it was the Grant Express. Our Education Foundation hosts many events. One, as you know, is the golf tournament, but many events to have or collect money for both teacher grants and student scholarships. And so today we were able to celebrate our teachers and award them with their grants. And so it was an amazing experience to be able to, join the foundation, give out those grants, but most importantly, know that the money that's being collected, that many of you donate, contribute every year to the Education Foundation, goes right back to our teachers and ultimately to our students. So I want to salute our Spring ISD Education Foundation. And I kept my little tambourine because this is about all that I can play, right, Dr. Clark? I was able to keep beat with this. Also, as Mr. Durant was saying, we have so many events going on throughout the district to celebrate the holiday season. We want to thank and celebrate also our police department. They just hosted our 3rd annual Blue Santa event at the Academy Sports and Outdoors here in Spring. And they did the same thing. They worked with local businesses and sponsors, and we want to thank them. The police department raised over $7,500. This allowed for 30 students that were previously selected, and they were allowed to spend $200 shopping at the our academy here in our area. If I were to have $200 at Academy, I'd be out with the whole bag. So definitely thanking our police department. We're very proud of this project. This is their 3rd year, but also it's not their only initiative. I think many of us have heard of the Dream Makers program, and this is a district-wide student leadership and mentoring program that is designed to encourage and reward students for their act of service and increase their quality of life and the support that they provide in the campuses. So thank our Chief of Police, Chief Colbreth, and our officers for their work that they do every day, supporting our students, and most importantly, right now, hosting this Blue Santa event. Another quick reminder for everyone, we do have our calendar option survey. All of our families, our parents, even students, because we do have a lot of students in the audience today, teachers, staff members, everyone should have received the link for them to be able to vote to select one calendar option for next year. This is the instructional calendar 2023, 2024 instructional calendar. And so this was developed actually by our ACE committee. This is the advisory committee on education, made up of teachers, other professionals, community members, as well as parents. And so they actually proposed or created these 2 calendar options. We need everyone to go in and select their favorite, take a vote, because then we bring it back to our board and they will ultimately approve the final calendar for next year. So make your voices heard and go in and vote. springisd.org/calendar survey. And then another reminder, because we're going to be gone for 2 weeks during winter break. Another reminder, our school choice applications are open. They are online. And as you know, we have schools of choice where students and parents can apply for their students to go to these schools of choice. At middle school, we have Spring Leadership Academy and Robertson Middle School. And then at high school, we have Winchie Senior High School. I see our principal that is here, Dr. James. He is the principal out at Winchie. It is a career academy, and you saw the students tonight. We also have our P-TECH program at Dekaney. This is a program that focuses on technology, and the students have the opportunity to earn an associate's degree in computer programming. And then last but not least, one of our longest standing programs is our Spring Early College program, where our students again not only receive their high school diploma, but also the opportunity to earn an associate's degree. So for all of our parents and students, make sure you apply, and the deadline is Friday, January 6th. I do want to do a quick shout out. We have Dr. Eric Tingle that's here, and he is actually the person that's coordinating all of our school application process for our schools, as well as this calendar survey. So Dr. Tingle, thank you so much for your support. We're going to make sure we get people online either voting for their calendar or submitting their applications for next year. And so just very grateful, want to say thank you to our Spring ISD community for their continued support as we go into this winter break. Happy holidays. Hope to see everyone well rested for a new year, ready to begin 2023. Feliz Navidad a todos que nos están viendo y próspero año nuevo, que descansen y nos vemos aquí otra vez en enero 2023. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you. Oh.
Thank you, Dr. Hinojosa. Next, I want to ask any of my colleagues, trustees, would like to make any remarks at this time.
Madam President, I want to piggyback off Dr. Hinojosa because I was so excited today to travel with the Spring Foundation today. This is our shirts that we all wore on the Grant Express. We gave out $19,800 to our district today, to our schools. We ask that teachers fill out applications for grants every year, and they do. And we love filling your request. So Merry Christmas to those teachers, 5 today that we went to. We went to Winchie, Clawton, Hirsch, Wells, and the Family Engagement Center. Reynolds, not Wells. Thank you, Dr. Jensen. We went to Reynolds Elementary today. The students were excited, the teachers were excited, and it was just a fun, thrilling day to travel with the foundation today to give out money to our teachers for our students. And the money comes from the teachers and district employees. So we thank our employees for supporting the foundation every year. As we said, we win as a team, and that's what we're doing for our students. Thank you.
I'd like to have an addendum to that. It was such a treat to go along with the Education Foundation, but there were many schools that I would love to go back and see what the teachers are doing with the money. Of course, some of these efforts I have actually seen that they were very successful, such as the Girls and Boys Summit and that sort of thing. However, I would like to point out one of the highlights for me, and it was at Wenchie High School. And there you have a couple of students who have created a little company they call the Hive. And they were concerned about the ecological and health impact of crayons that are made out of paraffin. That it's not good for kids, and especially, kids sometimes eat crayons. That's not good for them. And what they have done is they have created crayons out of beeswax with safe colors, so that if the kids, we're not recommending these as a snack, but if they were to eat them, it would not bother them. And we're just thrilled to see this inventive team put this together. So my hat's off to Wenchie High School, encouraging that kind of creativity and inventiveness in your students. Thank you.
That's innovative. We might need to patent that. Huh? Anyone else? I can't see you guys tonight.
I wanted to, actually a couple, so I'm going to reserve my comments on the football team because I see the coaches here and the players here. But I do want to talk about an event that conflicted with the spring choral performance a few weeks ago, which was the convening of the bond committee to go over the projects and sort of give the community a first look at what we're doing as we procure the first tranche of funds to start the projects for our bond. And I know that Dr. Hinojosa wants to make sure that we stay connected to that bond steering committee. And so as I understand it, there will be regular convenings to keep the community updated on how the bond projects are proceeding and to make sure that everybody stays in the loop. I want to thank the superintendent for taking the initiative to bring us together and to keep the public informed about what's happening with the bond.
Thank you, Trustee Adams. And we are very grateful, and we want to continue the engagement with the community and the transparency with the community behind the bond. It's $850 million is a lot of money, and we want to make sure every step along the way we're transparent and you all know how we're spending your taxpayer dollars. There is a website out there that has everything you ever wanted to know about, so if you get some spare time, you can go out there and take a look. Thank you for bringing that to our attention this evening, Trustee Adams. And we will now continue tonight's agenda if there aren't any other additional remarks with one of my most favorite part of the evening, and that's our spotlight and recognition. So I'd like to bring to everyone's attention that we're going to table the spotlight item 6.3. And we will recognize those students at the January 10th regular board meeting instead of this evening. But at this time, I'd like to ask the board and Dr. Hinojosa to join me in the horseshoe.
All right, we're excited to have our first spotlight and President Durand, the members of the board and Superintendent Hinojosa. As you can see behind me as we're eagerly awaiting two fantastic, amazing athletic teams from our Westfield and Dekaney High School football teams who have had an extraordinary season. And I'm excited to sit here and to intro. We're going to call up our Director of Athletics, Armando Jacinto, who's going to come and introduce both of these incredible teams and the players and coaches that we have before us.
Board President Durant, members of the board, Superintendent, Super Proud Superintendent Dr. Nelson, members of the leadership team. I'm here tonight in order to kind of like when Mr. Koyat said, is to recognize our two fantastic football teams who had great seasons this year. And the first team we're going to recognize is Westfield. So if they could come forward, all the Westfield players, coaches that are here. I can just stand over here for right now because everyone taking a picture. We have Matt Meekins, who's the head coach. We have Coach Desmond Black, who's the defensive coordinator. We have receivers coach and recruiting coordinator, Derek Thurman. Those are the coaches that represent the coaching staff. The players tonight we have are Danny Joseph, we have Julian Ledoux, we have Preston Hatter, we have Anthony Cathcart, and we have Marion Stamps. And these are five of the key performers on our team. Now the team went 12-2. They were undefeated district champs. They were state quarterfinalists, and they lost by 7 points to Duncanville, who's going to be playing in the state championship. So we're 7 points from being in the state championship. So hopefully next year we'll make it. But they did a great job. And some of the key points that I just want to say about the team that you might not know that was the reason they were so successful, along with the support from the administration, from Ms. Hunter, from administration and from the school board and from the community. I get my eyes out. Is Preston Hatter was voted MVP. Raise your hand for Hatter. So Bryson Malcolm, who's not here, he's co-MVP of the defense. We had John Palomo, who they know called Sonic because of his hairdo. If you ever seen him, they call him Sonic. He was a return specialist. They had 13 first-team all-district selections, 6 second-team all-district selections, and this is something that we're proud of. That'll really make you proud. We had 33 academic all-district selections. And we also had 8 second-team all-state academic selections. Coach Meekins was also voted Coach of the Year for the district. The staff was voted Coach of the Year, staff of the Year, and also tomorrow night at the Touchdown Club, Coach Meekins was nominated as Coach of the Year for the Touchdown Club in Houston at the ceremony tomorrow night, which will be announced. So he's nominated as Coach of the Year for the area as well. So let's have a great hand for that.
Thank you all for your support. I look up here and I see a lot of faces. This is my 21st out of the last 22 years in Spring ISD, and I see a lot of familiar faces that have been here a long time, just like us. Coach Black and Coach Thurm, they've been here 15 years. So, we've got a nice little foundation over here. These guys, a lot of people don't see what goes on except on Thursday, Friday nights or Saturday afternoons. But these guys, they work so hard, and there's great leaders, and I'm proud of these guys. I'm fired up about the 33 academic all district, and last year we had 2 academic all state. This year we have 8. So we're going to try to improve.
Yes, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to say how very proud we are of you, and I'm excited. I've been watching you guys out on the field. It's good to have you so close, so we can tell you personally, we're very proud of you. We feel like you went all the way, definitely here at Spring ISD. And it's exciting, not just on the field, but you guys are killing it academically. And so congratulations. I'm going to ask my Vice President, Trustee Adams, who I think wants to say a few words. Then we're going to take some pictures. Okay.
Thank you, President. So I was able to make it up to Hutto, and I made it up to Georgetown to see you guys play. I just want to say how proud I was as the opposing team's board members were sitting next to us, how you guys maintained your cool. I watched them try to bait you guys, and I watched the discipline and the self-control. It was very impressive. So congratulations to all of you. Coaches, you all have done a wonderful job with these young men. I know you'll continue to make us proud. Thank you.
Thank you. Walk the horseshoe, you shake their hands, and then we'll get a photo. And I just want to say congratulations to the coaches here, especially Coach Meehan. We continue to see you guys year over year. Yeah, you're gonna need that.
Yes, honey. Wait for your son.
All right. All right, guys, here we go. Hang on. You see here? All right. All right, here we go on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hang on. Very good. One more. On 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
One last thing, do you all have anyone here? Your mom? Stand up, mom and brother. Oh, so sweet. We know the parents are always behind the engine, right?
We doing one more?
Yeah, let's give them the mom. My brother.
All right, guys. Here we go right here. Nice smiles on 3, 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, guys.
Principal here with us.
Okay, could we have a Duquesne broadcast come up, please? While they're coming up, I just want to add something. Since I've been here, we've been able, with all these playoff rooms, we've been able to play in all these different stadiums. And some of them, these college stadiums, we know gonna be, we're not at that level as far as with our stadium. But the high school stadiums we play at, and you guys can change that, they don't, and both members, they don't compare to our stadium.
All right.
The press box, and the locker room, they don't compare. And before we move on, and it just tells you a lot about the facilities and support that y'all get in the athletic program from the community as well. And since we've been in Planet Ford Stadium for in the 3.5 years, our record there from the 3 teams is 52 and 6. So, if you want to get the Epic Center, then we'll carry that on for basketball as well. Okay, so now we have the Duquesne Wildcats, who were second place in district. They had a 9-4 record, and they were regional semifinals. And today we have a few coaches and some of the players today here to represent the Duquesne Wildcats on the great season that they had this year. We have head coach Anthony Williams, offensive coordinator Jermaine Mills, defensive coordinator Rodney Cephas. We have Tyler Morris, who's a linebacker, and also he's committed to Rice University. Third in his class with 104 GPA. Okay, and we have Nwosu, went first, Christian Nwosu. He's a defensive end. We have Keyshawn Williams. We have Sean Bradley, Nick Townsend, and Emmanuel Brown. Emmanuel Brown's committed to Boise State. The accolades that they got, Ty Morris was selected as co-defensive MVP for the district. We had Tamil Kynes, who's newcomer of the year. Brandon Joseph, who's all-purpose. They had 7 first-team all-district selections, 11 second-team all-district selections, 10 academic all-district selections. And since Coach Williams has been the coach, in 10 years, they've had 100 scholarship recipients. At this time, I'm allow Coach Williams wants to say a few words to the board and to the leadership team.
I'd like to thank you for having our guys come out, not just us, but having the Westfield team come out, man. There's a lot of time and effort that go in with the coaches, Coach Cephas, Coach Mills, Coach Meekins, man. It's a lot of time that go into this that you guys couldn't even imagine that we put into this with these kids, but it's never about us. It's always about the kids that we service in the district. And like, thank y'all for giving us this opportunity.
It's Mr. Reynolds. He's here today as the principal for his support of the athletic program. In fact, come back.
So proud of you on what Trustee Adams said.
You young men also never rested. I watched the game. You guys just did not quit. That's the thing that I saw with this team all year long. Is you guys were never out of the game. So much. The discipline, the hard work is showing up on the field, is showing up in the classrooms. So I want to congratulate you as well, and thank you for representing Spring the way you did. Thank you.
Tonight, do you have any parents here or someone you'd like to recognize? Your mom's here? Your father's here? Hey, Dad, you understand? The rest of the world would like an opportunity to shake your hands and congratulate you, and then we'll take a photo.
Hey, how are you? Yeah. Yeah. There we go. All right. All right, guys, right here. Very nice on 3, 1, 2, three. Oh, all right, let's try that again on three. One, two, three. There you go. Okay, we're gonna do a couple more. One, two, three. And one, two, three. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
That's the way our shift. Okay, so now we're moving on to the next segment of our spotlights. And we're going to be announcing our 2022 Superintendent's Holiday Contest card winners. As we are aware, this is an annual event that rotates between elementary and secondary campuses. And we're going to go ahead and kick it off, and we're going to bring up Mr. Joe Clark, our Director of Performing and Visual Arts, who will go ahead and talk a little bit about the contest and bring up the winners.
All right, this is exciting. This is student night. This is one of the best nights. We're all excited. So good evening, President Durant, members of the board, and the entire tambourine section on this side of the board. So I appreciate all of your first chair. You are first chair. That's right. So tonight we are very pleased to present this year's winners of the 2022 Spring ISD Superintendent's Holiday Card Contest. At this time, I'd like to invite our students and teachers to join me at the podium and stand next to their great artwork. Come on up, teachers and students. There you go. And we have two, so it's neat. We blow up a big version of their artwork. So one stays with us so we can display here, and one goes home with them so they can put it up in their house. So we have two. So we'll show one side and then the others two. So everybody gets to see it. Yeah. We had great entries this year. So let me tell you a little bit about, as a quick reminder, in Spring ISD, we do try to balance the playing field a little bit by alternating between elementary and secondary. And this way, so it gives our elementary artists, they're not all competing against the high school AP portfolio and all the other AP students. So this year we accepted entries from our secondary campuses in Spring ISD. All right, there we go. All right, so the first round of competition is conducted by each secondary art teacher at their campus. This round had hundreds and hundreds of entries. So this is all on their campus levels. From here, each teacher selected their top 3 to 4 pieces, and then they submitted to the PBA office. So that gives us about 60 pieces. We take the 60 down to 10. So there's 3 rounds. So we have 10 to 12 because I have tried giving the cabinet and everyone 30 pieces, and that was a lot. So we have one more round of competition. So they had 10 to 12 pieces. And from there, we select the top 3. So we have compiled all the rankings, and we are very excited to share our top 3 winners with you tonight. All right, so at this time, Madam President, if I can get your assistance in presenting the students their awards. And students, why don't you come over here too? So the same way artwork, and see the board on this side too. We have things for you. So I will announce our 3 winners. Here we go. And everybody wants to know what's in the bags too. So these are, and we started this a while ago, we have high quality art supplies. So all of the students that are taking their art to the next level, they always want those higher quality art supplies. And so we go out and we spend a little bit more that they would have, like the same thing they would have in college. So these are the same kind of level supplies. You can see they have portfolios and canvases. So they are very excited. But we do need some edible ones too. So maybe we talk to the child nutrition and we can start adding those into, I like that idea. Okay, so without further ado, 3rd place, and the teacher is at Spring High School, Brenda Guardiola. Give a big round of applause for Kennedy Archer. Kennedy is in 12th grade at Spring High School under the direction of Brenda Guardiola. Good job. All right, all right. And Brent, oh, she's hiding over here. And then the art teacher, Brent, she's at Spring High School. All right, and 2nd place from Dekaney High School is Giselle Carano Mejia. Giselle. The entries were this was a very tough competition. Good job. Congratulations. Stay close, stay close, stay up here. All right, and first place, very excited. Also from Spring High School, under the direction of Brenda Guardiola, is Shasid Ramirez, 11th grade. And Matthew, it's okay. Oh, yes. And we color code the bags too. So their artwork is on the bag too. So we put their artwork and you put everything else. So congratulations. All right. So, and quickly, let me get some other people up here too. So tonight would not have been possible without the amazing support of our parents and our families. So at this time, can we get the parents and families to come up here and join us too? Teachers up here too. Parents and families, come on up, come on up. And you can always spot the moms. They're finding every corner they can take pictures from. So very, very proud. All right. And at this time too, we also know this level of accomplishment doesn't happen without great leadership at the campus level. At this time, we'd also like to thank the incredible support of Spring High School under the direction of Principal Resendiz. And I know Mr. Alonso is here, Alonso Reynolds III from Decatur High School. Thank you all for your support. Please join us up here too. Yeah, I like how he coordinated everything too. He's getting all the team up here too. He should have just stayed up here. Yep. And I just want to make sure anybody from Spring High School, any administrator from Spring High School. Okay. All right. So Madam President, at this time, would you like in?
Absolutely. I would like to say congratulations. We're so very proud of you. I'm just amazed at the intricate detail that's in your paintings. Congratulations, great work. And we want to recognize you, so the rest of the board would like an opportunity to shake your hand. And we hope you enjoy the amazing prizes in your bags. And we look forward to seeing you again. It's going to say a few words.
Ms. Durant es la presidenta de la mesa directiva y quiere darle las felicitaciones a todos los estudiantes, ¿verdad? Que los dibujos están hechos de maravilla. Entonces ella está bien impresionada con el trabajo que ustedes hacen, y a los padres, muchísimas gracias de parte de nuestra presidenta y de la mesa directiva. Felicidades. Felicidades.
Thank you, Dr. Hinojosa.
So every year we attend the conference called PASPAS, and your art is on display in a gallery at this conference. And so just for the art teachers and for the students, the art at Spring, and it's art from school districts all over the state. I always make sure I get by and see your art. It always shines above the art that I see. And I know these are talented artists all over the state, but it is always really gratifying to see how talented our kids are. Something I'm very proud of. So.
El señor Adams, él es el vicepresidente de la mesa directiva y él está hablando de la conferencia que asisten ellos. Es la organización de todas las mesas directivas y siempre se representa a todos los dibujos, lo que ustedes hacen, y dice que él siempre está, ¿verdad?, bien sorprendido y agradecido para poder ver a ustedes lo que ustedes hacen. Está muy orgulloso, ¿verdad?, de todo lo que ustedes hacen. Entonces, gracias.
Thank you. All right, congratulations. Now you can go shake the hands so the rest of the board can congratulate you and your parents. And I even see some siblings here.
You guys take this good stuff out. Congratulations. It took me a second too.
Right.
Yeah. She came up to me, so I was very fortunate.
Gotcha, so, okay. Yes, at the time, they're grabbing their artwork, they're coming back to here. As we get set up too, I just want to tell you what we do also for the first place winner. This is a copy of, as you know, the Christmas card, the holiday card that goes out. So she see the first place winner gets a copy, she gets a portfolio made by our communications department of all of her own Christmas cards. So she's that too. I'll put this in your bag there too.
Okay, let's see, Dr. Jensen, let me get you just a slide this way, just there you go. There you go, there you go. All right, very good, guys. Here we go. Nice smiles. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Hang on. Very good, just a couple more. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you. Congratulations.
You two go up. Oh, absolutely. You guys go out in the hallway too? They want another picture with you guys on the hallway. It was your artwork. All right, at this time, I'll turn it back over to you, Dr. Hinojosa. Sorry. Sorry.
We have one more? Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought that was.
Just one more. Yes, sir. That's all now. Gotcha, okay. I thought I had a break.
All right, board, we have one last spotlight and definitely, last but definitely not least, as the school that we are fixing to announce, the school that's near and dear to me, a school that I love to frequent, and we have a champion principal that's in the back that's waiting to join us. I'm going to call her up right now. If we can have Miss Cecily Parker, principal of Jenkins, come on down. One of our all-star leaders. But we are here to recognize Jenkins Elementary School music teacher Centuries Hawley, who was selected from a nationwide pool of applicants to perform with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra as part of the symphony's biennial extra credit concert, featuring a select group of music educators from across the country. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Mr. Joe Clark again, our Director of Performing Visual Arts, who will go ahead and present the topic.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Power. All right. Good evening, President Durant, members of the board. I feel like I was just here and our tambourine section one more time, Dr. Hinojosa. All right. So before I begin, I would like to invite our very own, soon to be famous, Chantrice Holly from Jenkins Elementary to join me at the podium as I share her outstanding accomplishments. Come on down, Chantrice Holly. All right. This was a very hard one to write, I'll be honest with you. In 2017, the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra began a concert series specifically to honor the incredible work of select music educators from across the nation. Every other year, the symphony invites just a handful of incredible educators from across the nation to join them on stage for a professional performance. This is the pinnacle of every musician's dream. There is no higher level, and I put it here, and no music educator that I know of in Spring ISD has performed with the Houston Symphony, St. Louis Symphony, including myself. All right, so I did put that in there too. All right, so the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra swam through all the sea of applicants, and on Friday, October 7th of this year, they took the stage with our very own Miss Chantrice Holly from Jenkins Elementary School. Big round of applause. That would be great if this is the end of the story. All right, but so we have a few things too. So as I was digging through, I found we went all the way back to emails between me and Ms. Holly about like all the things that she has done. She's a facilitator. She trains elementary music teachers. She is an elementary music teacher. She is a leader among leaders on campuses, and she's one of those quiet like soldiers that you don't always notice. So I went back through my emails and I said, I need an example. So I started with our leadership definition, and she hits like the whole wheel. So we go around and around. And I said, oh, I like that example. I like this one. And I was embarrassed. I found one that I forgot about. And so I was preparing for this. And it was during COVID. And so like when we were all going 90 to nothing in the weeds, trying to reinvent ourselves and trying to do curriculum, we rewrote everything. We did virtual lessons. We did, because we were teaching virtual and in person at the same time. And we were like inventing the plane as we flew it. As you know, we all were. Chantrice was one of those ones that we tapped and we said, hey, we need your help. We need you to do this, X, Y, and Z. Never asked anything in return. She just did it. And you know, when you're in the weeds with something and you look to your left and you look to your right and you see the people with you, she's the one that was always with us. But I missed something and I didn't see it. And I want to share this with you. She doesn't know I'm doing this either. I found where she went out and Spring ISD wasn't enough. She wanted to help others. She wanted to help our teachers, our kids, but she wanted to share that information. Mike, could you share? At Carnegie Hall, started a process of collecting information from teachers from across the country. Chantrice Holly wanted to share what we were doing in Spring ISD. And so right before this, I edited just a small snippet, but please watch this. It's really something. So she's talking about teaching in person and virtual, and she's saying we upload lessons. But go ahead, Mike, go ahead.
Put together an elementary music leadership committee. What this committee does is we come together and we bring concerns and issues that all the other teachers may have, and we come up with creative ways to solve them. So this year, instead of everyone lesson planning individually, the Elementary Music Leadership Committee came together and we created lessons weekly and we distributed them to all the teachers, so that's one thing that's less of a burden for everybody, so they can go online, access the lesson, and that way all the students are doing the same lesson, the same week, the same time, and we can ensure that no matter what, they're gonna have access to that information. The kids, I love the kids, oh my goodness. Just watching them when they saw me on the first day of school and I saw their little faces light up on the computer and I was like, I wish I could hug you, but I can't. But just seeing them and they've grown and they're so healthy and they're stronger and they're older and wiser, that has been just the thing that keeps me going, is knowing that even if I'm not able to physically be there with you, I'm still here with you and I'm still here for you. So seeing that, and also in this pandemic, I have learned that I enjoy helping other teachers. Other teachers inspire me. Like I'm on a couple of different teaching groups on Facebook and other social media platforms, and I just look at their Bitmoji classrooms and I look at how they organize things and how they put together, and I'm like, I can draw from that. So I always like to find my inspiration from
the teachers. So I gotta tell you, like, it was hard to watch that, and I was like, wow. And she doesn't ask for anything in return. She never shared this. She never went out and she just did it. She just went out to help the teachers. She gave all of what we do in Spring ISD away for free to Carnegie Hall. That's the Carnegie Hall. And so she's trying to share resources. And I always look for, just like everywhere, we look for alignment in what our vision is and where we're trying to go. And all we do is we take our lessons and we shared them across every district in Houston area. Like, we came together, all of it, and here it was. No one ever told her to do this. She's leading Spring ISD, and then she's going to Carnegie Hall to say, hey, this is what we're doing in Spring ISD. If you go and watch the beginning and the end, she talks about the district and she talks about all the things that she is doing for our kids. But when that alignment hit, where like we put the kids at the center and then we help the teachers, but we put the kids at the center of everything we do. I mean, there's a lot of Dr. Hinojosa in what she was saying there too. I mean, a lot of what comes out of your mouth comes out of hers too. So please, please, please help me thank and welcome Chantrice Holly.
On behalf of the board, I'd just like to say congratulations, and you exemplify what a good teacher is, and caring about our students, sharing with others, because I always believe that where learning happens is in that classroom between the teacher and the students. And we are very proud of the work that you've done, and you've recognized us at a national level, and we're really grateful for everything that you do. And I know sometimes We work hard and we wonder if it's appreciated. I want to tell you, you are very much appreciated.
Thank you.
I got one more. Yeah, like I said, if that was just the end of the story, no, I wanted to invite you. So when I reached out to Miss Holly and I said, hey, we want to recognize you when we get the dates, she said, that's great. I need to tell you something else too. She got a call from Tyler Perry. And Tyler Perry is musical director, invited her and flew her out to Dallas and paid all of her accommodations to perform with. You want to talk about the Tyler Perry?
Tyler Perry's music director has a band called the Simply Irresistible Band. It's led by Mr. Ronnie Garrett. And they flew me out for the weekend last weekend. And I performed at the Dallas Charity Ball. It's the largest charity ball in Dallas for children. And there were about 2,000 people at this ball. And I was able to perform. It's a 3-hour show straight from beginning to end, and I jumped on in there.
And the last little shout out I will say is this obviously does not happen without campus leadership. I always want to say that too. And so I say, I thank all the campus leaders that Ms. Holly has had, especially Ms. Parker, for allowing that culture of just reaching for the next level. Because that doesn't grow on its own. So that's from the campus leadership. So thank you, Ms. Parker, too. Appreciate it. And Tiffany Weston, too.
Congratulations, and the rest of the board like to congratulate you.
I'm a person of few words. I just want to say thank you. This is year 14 in spring. All of my teaching years have been here in Spring ISD. I do not have any intentions to go anywhere else. And I just really like to share the art and the gift of music with my kids, especially minority children. And I think it's important for little brown girls to know that they can play brass instruments too, because I'm a trumpet player. So I like to share that with my students, let them know that they can do it too. And music is for everybody.
If anyone ever doubted it, there are great things happening here in Spring ISD. We are now going to continue tonight's agenda. Our next item is agenda participation. This item allows members of the public an opportunity to speak on agenda items before those items are considered by the board. Mr. Binkley, do we have anyone registered to speak under agenda participation?
Not for agenda participation, no, Madam President.
Thank you. Our next item is public participation. In this portion of the meeting, Mr. Brinkley, do we have anyone registered to speak under public participation?
Yes, Madam President, Artemio Hernandez has signed up to speak regarding HR recruitment. As I ask Mr. Hernandez to approach the podium, I do have a short statement to read. The board invites interested citizens to address the board on any subject that they desire other than allegations concerning the character or capability of any board member, staff member, citizen, or student of the district. The board provides an opportunity on the agenda for citizens to address the board, and we welcome your participation. The board will listen and will not interrupt unless the person addressing the board infringes on the guidelines as stated previously or exceeds the time limit authorized for the presentation. In this case, you will have 3 minutes to present. Mr. Sheffer will keep time, which will be displayed on the monitors. According to law, the board may not take action on any item that is not on the agenda. The board will not debate nor respond to any question during the meeting in order to research the question thoroughly before replying. The board will seriously consider the matter brought to its attention and respond appropriately. Also, according to law, it is a criminal offense for a person to obstruct, prevent, interfere with, or disrupt a lawfully called meeting through physical action or verbal utterance. Citizens are requested to supplement any oral address to the board with a written summary of their presentation and any recommendations they may wish to suggest. Thank you for your concern regarding our school district, and we will hear you now.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to commend all the board members, Dr. Hinojosa as well. Y'all have been doing a terrific job. This is my first year here at Spring, and y'all have set up an environment that's very welcoming, very open. I love my principal. I love my coworkers, and so that is very refreshing. So very good. The reason I'm here today is a couple of things, and of course, it all goes to students. One of the things that I know we're getting into that part of the year where we're trying to recruit teachers to come in. And one thing that I noticed is that we don't have our teacher salary scale posted online. I know that it was adopted by the board, but I did some digging, and it not even on the day of the adoption is that on there. So it would make it a lot easier for teachers looking to move to Spring if they just, hey, look, I've been teaching for 5 years. This is how much I'm going to get paid. The number 2 is the recruitment incentive, and on this one, on me, and that so on there, I mean, and by the way, I made a promise. Well, not a promise. I told my kids a couple of weeks ago that, hey, you know what? I'm going to get this recruitment incentive. I'm going to pay for Christmas party. So I got them all together. And by the way, they're amazing. They're behaving very well. They met their academic goals that we had for our CBA. So paying for it. But one thing that it's not listed on there is that for the data. So I'm coming from Katy ISD. The school that I worked at is the #1 rated school in Fort Bend County. And I was there from the opening till last year. It is ranked 24th in the state as ratings. Diversity, we're number 28 in the county, so it's not like it's monoculture. So in the 11 years that I've been teaching, I have proficient and above last year, distinguished, master's degree in education, all A's, just 1 B in there from one class. It had to do with how the stuff was founded. But one thing, even with all those things taken into account, because last year I was an interventionist, I was a campus contact, I was not teacher of record for STAR data, even though campus exceeded everything that's on there, I do not qualify for the teacher recruitment incentive. So, which is something that I found out earlier today, and I was like, well, but I just wanted to make y'all aware that, look, if y'all just list the items on there for the recruitment and what can be used, it would be terrific. It would make everything a lot easier. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Mr. Hernandez, thank you.
We have no other speakers, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Brinkley. So for our next item, I'd like to again recognize our Executive Chief of District Operations, Mark Miranda.
Thank you, President Durant, Superintendent Hinojosa, and board members. I'm on page 20 in your binder, and last Tuesday, we went over and we covered the educational specifications and schematic designs for both Momentum High School and Spring Leadership Academy. And we were asked to hold them off of consent agenda. One of the things we were going to do, and we have done so in your packet, you should have a copy of this. We have updated the committee members for both of the projects, and we were able to do that to comply with the request.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So at this time, I will entertain a motion on the schematics.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the schematic design documents for Spring Leadership Academy and Momentum High School and the education specification for Momentum High School.
Get a second, please.
Again.
It's been moved by trustee Adams and seconded by trustee Correa that the Board of Trustees approve the schematic design documents for Spring Leadership Academy and the education specifications for Spring Leadership Academy. Is there any discussion?
I have a question. Just being new to this process, are there potential revisions, or is this the finalized design?
This should be the finalized design.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. For our next item, I'd like to recognize our Chief Financial Officer, Ann Westbrooks.
I apologize. So I think there was some confusion in the motions. I believe the board approved the design schematics for Spring Leadership Academy, but we do still need to approve the design schematics for Momentum High School.
The motion read Leadership Academy.
Okay, the errors in my script. So we will restate that motion that was approved by trustee Adams and seconded by trustee Correa, that the Board of Trustees approve the schematic design documents for Spring Leadership Academy and Momentum High School and the education specifications for Momentum High School.
Yes.
We're good. Okay. All right. We're going to do that again, guys. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. That addresses our specifications. We're good.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we will now again introduce our wonderful CFO.
Thank you, President Durant. Good evening, Dr. Hinojosa and members of the board. On last Tuesday evening, we had our financial advisors from Post Oak Municipal Advisors, as well as our bond counsel from Bracewell Attorneys that came in and talked through the bond order that is in your packets, I believe, beginning on page 73. And so this evening, we're seeking the board's approval to move forward with providing the administration with the authority to move forward with the sale of the first tranche of the 2022 approved and authorized bond election that was approved on November 8th. The first tranche is for $300 million, and that would carry us through the first 12 to 18 months of projects related to the 2022 bond.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Mr. Brinkley, can I see you for a moment? Sorry about that interruption. Any questions for Ms. Westbrooks? All right, then we will call for a motion.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the order authorizing the issuance of one or more series of Spring Independent School District Unlimited Tax School Building Bonds, Series 2023, levying a tax and providing for the security and payment thereof, providing for the award of sale thereof in accordance to specified parameters, authorizing the execution and delivery of a purchase contract, a paying agent registrar agreement, and an escrow agreement relating to such bonds, approving the preparation of an official statement and enacting other provisions related thereto.
Need a second?
Second that motion.
It's been moved by trustee Jensen and seconded by trustee Newhouse that the Board of Trustees approve the order authoring the issuance of one or more series of Spring Independent School Districts Unlimited Tax School Building Bonds Series 2023, levying a tax and providing for the security and payment thereof, providing for the award of sale thereof in accordance with specified parameters, authorizing the execution and delivery of a purchase contract, a paying agent registrar agreement, and an escrow agreement relating to such bonds, approving the preparation of an official statement and enacting other provisions related therein. Is there any discussion?
I did have a quick question. On the escrow agreement, how is that set up?
It's an escrow account that we would put funds in until we make payment for the bond. That's typically what we do when we have a refunding. We have a bond refunding, then we will put the funds there until it's time to make that payment. So it's in here because it authorizes us to have the use of an escrow fund as needed.
Without any other questions, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Anyone opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Westbrooks. Can please continue with your next item?
Madam President,
Yes.
I need to clarify for the for the motion on the schematic designs and education specification, the motion that I recited did not include the education specification for Spring Leadership Academy. I'm not sure if that's what Jeremy's confusion was. but-
It was, and we talked about it, and he said we were able to get them both in with the two motions that we passed, and we're good to go.
I want to be clear.
We appreciate it.
The motion did not approve, it only approved education specification for Memento High School. And so if that might become an issue later in terms of what we approved, we should correct that.
And so I think the motion is clarified, covered both, but just to be super careful, if it makes the board more comfortable, we can do each of those motions separately. Approve the education specifications for Spring Leadership Academy in one motion, and then do a second motion to approve the education specifications for Momentum High School. And that would be wonderful.
As I understand it, those education specifications are a matter of state compliance.
They are.
So I want to make sure we cross Ts and dot Is when it comes to that. So I'm comfortable doing the motion if everybody else is.
Okay, so we're gonna step a little bit out of order. We're gonna have a point of order. Give me just a moment. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna ask for a motion to rescind the previous motions, and then we will do them again. So, trustee Hodges, can you give us that motion to rescind?
Madam President, I move that we rescind the original motion made by trustee Adams and call for a new motion. And I can make that motion. I move that the Board of Trustees approve the schematic design
We
documents
need
for.
to second and approve.
I'm
the
sorry,
first
yes,
motion.
you're right.
On the rescind, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
second and
trustee
approve on the
Hodges.
rescind.
You have a second on that?
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Hodges and seconded by trustee Adams that we rescind the previous vote on the schematic designs for Momentum High School and the Spring Leadership Academy. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. So we're gonna start over. Okay. Trustee Adams, would you like to make that first motion?
So I think I can.
That's what we did, but that's okay. Let's keep them, go ahead and combine them.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the schematic design documents for Spring Leadership Academy and Momentum High School, and the education specification for Momentum High School and Spring Leadership. I don't think I had my mic on.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on that motion? All right, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Anyone opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, board. I have a great board. Yes, I do. We fix our mistakes. All right. Ms. Westbrooks?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You all have a blue folder at your desk. And this is for a request for proposal for motor fuel delivery. And so we were seeking respondents for a primary and a secondary vendor for the sale and delivery of motor fuels, particularly to fill our 3 tanks at our district's transportation facility to service our diesel and fuel needs across the district. We had a total of 9 vendors respond. And this evening, we are making a recommendation for Mansfield Oil Company as the primary, who also submitted the lowest price for the service. And then Suncoast Resources as the secondary vendor for providing motor fuel service to the district.
Any questions from Ms. Westbrook?
I do, just a clarifying question. So is this just for, excuse me, the transportation for transporting the fuel to us, or is it, are we purchasing the fuel that's being transported? All of
They're
that?
bringing the fuel and filling the tanks. So we're
So we're paying
purchasing
for
the fuel.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
And so they bid on the price that they would charge for the fuel that fills the tanks. So we have a total of 3 tanks.
So with that, with the way the price of fuel fluctuates, how do we account for that fluctuation or that increase in price?
This is actually locking the price in for us over the next year,
Madam
which is really
President,
good.
point of order. Point of order. I'm sorry, and I feel like I'm sort of being the heel here. The proper Roberts Rules procedure is to make the motion, second it, then have you ask your questions and do the discussion, just so it's on the record properly.
Okay, all right. So go ahead and make them, who's gonna make the motion?
Okay, Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees award the contract for motor fuels to the provider recommended by the administration.
I second that motion.
Been moved by trustee Adams. It's been moved by trustee McDaniels and seconded by trustee Jensen that the board award the contract for motor fuels. Trustee Newhouse, I thought that was you. The flowers are throwing me off. That the Board of Trustees award the contract for motor fuel to the provider recommended by administration. Now, is there any discussion? Ms.
I
Hodges,
had a
would you like to
question.
continue with your question?
Yes, so I had a question, but you can go ahead and finish. You did clarify. I was wondering, one, was it, because it reads to me as if they're just transporting the fuel and then we're purchasing it and then they're transporting it. But if that's all included and you answered the question about we are locked into that rate for a year. So then in a year, we'll vote again for this as well.
That's correct. And that's why
Alright.
we were working hard to get this on the December
Uh-huh.
meeting because we were hearing prices were going up in the new year. Yes.
Right,
Thank
okay,
you.
thank you.
And just for future record, we can take questions around the item. Then once the motion is made, we open up for discussion. So we were okay, but we will make sure that we make sure there's only questions prior to that motion, right? Thank you, everybody. Any other discussion? All right. I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Anyone opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. I will now entertain a motion. Let me see. Ms. Westbrook, was that your last item this evening?
Yes, ma'am, it was. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is the Board Audit Committee update. Do we have an update from the Audit Committee? That's us. We actually had our Audit Committee representative here during the work session, so I don't believe we have any items this evening. I want to confirm that with Ms. Newhouse.
No, we do not. She brought us up to date.
All right. Thank you. Next is our Governance Committee. Do we have an update from Governance, Trustee Jensen?
Yes, our committee is the third Monday of the month, and for both November and December, that fell on a holiday. So I really commend my committee for coming together last night and having a out of schedule meeting. We are developing a very robust advocacy agenda that I am going to hand over to Ms. McDaniel to describe. But before she describes that, I would like to also say that we have some ongoing legal updates concerning Spring ISD. We have a major one from TASB that's going to be coming up in January. And in February, we are going to be helping with the Equity Committee review a lot of our policies to make sure that we are with our philosophy and emphasis in spring. And of course, we had some nominations for the Employee Excellence Awards, which we will discuss later tonight. Ms. McDaniel, would you describe a little bit about our process for the advocacy agenda?
Yes, so if you recall at our last meeting, we talked for our update, we went through the priorities from TASB, the Texas Association of School Boards, that aligned with Spring ISD's priorities. Our next steps that we reviewed last night were around first identifying relevant Spring ISD departments as it relates to each issue, which department, which contact person within our district can really support us to lead those advocacy efforts so that we have a grassroots effort within the district. We also discussed organizations that we can partner with that can help us to move our efforts forward in terms of advocacy. So first, TASB, like we mentioned before, and actually there is this coming year, the first ever federal and state level advocacy institute offered by TASB. So you all should have gotten an email about that. It's coming in early February. So we're definitely interested in attending that. We discussed TSA, which stands for the Texas School Alliance. They support and advocate for mid to large size urban school districts. So partnering with them, as well as other school districts. We've talked a lot about that. And so now we are moving forward with reaching out to districts who have similar needs to ours, so that we can partner, because we know there's more power with more voices. In addition to that, Raise Your Hand Texas. So these are organizations that are that work at the state level, and Raise Your Hand Texas is a Texas-based advocacy organization. So I have reached out to get and have the contact information for our regional advocacy director. We also talked about special education groups, and specifically thinking about how vouchers impact students in the special education program. And so some of those organizations include the Disability Rights Texas, Texas Council of Administrators of Special Education, and the Coalition of Texans with Disabilities. And last but not least, we're all members of the Texas Caucus of Black School Members, everyone on our board. And so there is an executive board roundtable this Sunday where the focus is rallying together to create an advocacy plan. And so those are just some of the organizations in our area that we're looking to, and contacts that we're looking to, so that we are able to couple with those who have similar needs as us and really make some change. As we know, the upcoming legislative session starts very soon. So if my committee members want to add on anything, that is my update.
I just want to thank you because we are obviously trying to expand and be more efficient and also more relevant to Spring's needs as we go forward. So we're all learning our business here. Thank you.
As elected officials, we are elected to represent our community. And I want to thank the Governance Committee for being in the forefront and pushing through legislation. Public education is under attack right now, and it's really important that we make sure that the bills and things that represent our students are in the forefront of our legislators' mind, and that we are partnering with the appropriate folks to drive that message. Just want to say thank you, because it's very important, critical work. Our next item is our Board Community Engagement Committee, and Trustee Hodges, do you have an update for us today?
I want to thank our committee, and also Ms. Trinita Carroll for assisting and leading us in these efforts. I was unable to attend our Winter Wonderland, so wanted to just thank her. I heard that it was a great event. So if any of the board can comment on that. I was out of town for work on that Friday. Anyone want to comment on that? That was a culminating event for the year.
I can comment on that.
Me too.
So my kids, I thought, had outgrown Winter Wonderland. But they enthusiastically, I have a sophomore and a seventh grader who enthusiastically participated in events out at Planet Ford. And there wasn't even any snow, and they still went out, and we didn't leave till almost the end. I thought they were gonna go and be bored because the books, they've aged out of the books that we give away. But they really enjoyed the different tents and the different activities, especially the piñata, which I have some liability concerns about swinging that stick around. But that's like, they were glued to that scene. So
Winfred is our attorney.
Again, the event continues to grow. Better and better attended. I met a young father that was there with his two little boys, and was really excited to have the opportunity that the school district put on this event for the community. Parking lot was full. The kids were running around getting tuckered out. I remember when mine were that age, and I know that's just what parents needed that night. And so again, just a really well done event, and I'm really pleased to participate. So thank you.
It was extremely well attended. There had to be about 2,000 people there. It was probably the largest one that I've seen. And I was telling my daughter when we left the house that there wasn't going to be any snow this year because it was 78 degrees. We didn't want to pay for snow that would melt in 5 minutes. And we had snow cones instead. But she said, oh, the kids aren't going to miss the snow. And we were getting out of the car. A little boy said, where's the snow? I said, we have snow cones, baby. And we even ran out of the tickets for the snow cone, and Miss Carol worked with the vendor, and they continue to provide those cones for the kids because there were just so many in attendance. It was extremely well attended, extremely well done. I'm very proud of that work, both Ms. Hodges and Ms. Carol. Dr. Jensen, did you? Okay.
All right. Well, that concludes our report, and we are looking forward to doing great, even greater work in 2023. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to recognize our Equity Committee. Trustee Adams.
Thank you, President Durant. I'm going to turn this report over to Trustee McDaniel. She's been doing some work with the Georgetown Edunomics Lab around equitable allocation of resources. And so I'm going to allow her to give that update.
So we had several topics that we dove into with the Equity Committee. So I'll highlight some of them, and then to my colleagues, Trustee Gray and Trustee Adams, if you want to add to it. So if you remember, we looked at the RDA, the results-driven accountability report that is required through TEA. And so at our previous meeting, Trustee Adams requested to dig a little bit deeper through the equity lens, specifically focusing in on our students who are in foster care, who are homeless, and who have military parents, just to ensure that there's equitable access. So we took a look specifically at athletics and the visual arts programming. And just as a note, there has been an update. So military students previously were identified as those who have active military parents. Now it's even if they're retired. So the population is a bit bigger. So just a note there, because that was just a new learning that we talked about. And so we found that the district, or one area that we know we are providing access, is students who are homeless. We offer transportation. So if they want to be a part of athletics, we ensure that they do have the transportation so that they can get there. At the same time, we did realize that they're still underrepresented in athletics. And so we talked about potential difficulties. Of course, mobility could be a major one. And so just an opportunity area for the district. That was something that, we want to continue to do more work in that area. We also took a look at MClass. So remember, we looked at the BOY beginning of year data at our last meeting. And so we disaggregated the MAP data, which MAP is the literacy, well, specifically literacy 3rd grade and up. And I requested to look at the K-2 literacy data, because as we know, that's our foundational time. That's when our kids, we really need to create a strong foundation so that we set them up for success. We talk a lot about STAR, and that that's important as well. But setting them up for success during those early years is really key. So we looked at each of our populations and we reviewed that data comparing this time last year. Now, keep in mind, this is a different set of kids, but at the same time, it does provide us with trends for our district. So we noted that our African-American students increased for those who are performing on or above grade level by 12%. So that's gains that we saw. We also looked at our bilingual students. Another note or new learning that we realized there is that bilingual students are identified based on how they're assessed. So when they come into the district, there's an assessment. Their families do have an opportunity to waive bilingual services. So when we talk about bilingual students, we're talking about all students who tested into the bilingual program. When we think about emerging bilingual students, those are students who are being served in bilingual classrooms. So just a differentiator there. We noted that for our bilingual students who tested, sorry, looking at my notes here. We noticed that our bilingual students had some decrease by 10%. And one potential factor that we noted with that was that this is the first year with Amplified Spanish. So with English, they had it last year, but this is the first year with Amplified Spanish. So looking forward to seeing how that looks at MOY. So that's something else important to note. We've been looking at, this is BOY data. So this is how the kids come in August, where they are, baseline data. We will be able to really get valuable information when middle of the year data comes so that we can see the progress that we've made and we can determine next steps and what our kids need. So just wanted to highlight that point. We also noted for first grade, African-American students increased by 10%, Hispanic students increased by 5%, and then bilingual and emerging bilingual students were about the same. ESL went up 19% and dual language up 9%. So a lot of up. So that's something to celebrate there, which is really, this is the reason why we wanted to look at that data even closer, just so that we can really see where specifically are we making gains, where specifically do we need to target, just so that we are all on the same page. So I won't dig into everything that we looked at, but just wanted to recognize some of those gains and areas of opportunity. And just note that we have seen gains from kindergarten to first grade, and those are the same group of students. So that lets us know that what teachers, our leaders here, our families who are helping them at home, is actually, we're seeing some promising gains there and it's working. So that's my second piece. And then one more, we looked at Lexile levels and STAR passing rates. And so when we talk about Lexile levels, this is going to show us what kids, the level of text complexity that they can handle and comprehend. So that's going to help us to see their progress across the year, as opposed to focusing in only on STAR. That's one day, one test. So Lexile levels give us a little bit more information about where we are. And there's a correlation between Lexile levels and STAR passing rates. So that's why we wanted to take a look at those BOY map Lexile levels. One notable trend was, and thinking about the profile of a graduate, we know that literacy should be a part of it. And so the data shows that majority of our students are reading below level. But we know that with our instructional materials, with our second year in Amplify, that we're looking to see some gains with that. Just a note as well, because we looked at high school, that we are providing interventionists even up into high school levels. We have the Read 180 course that high schoolers can receive literacy intervention as well. So those were just some highlights with the data digs that we did. And if you're interested in taking a look, we have that data available as well. So those were just a few pieces. Trustee Adams and Cray, if you guys want to add anything, Dr. Hinojosa.
Just want to add that Trustee McDaniel did share the Georgetown Edunomics materials, and I would encourage you to take a look at those. In particular, there's a resource that is an interactive infographic that offers spring-specific data around resource allocation and outcomes for students. Sort of not a scatter plot, but it's the
I can't think of the word.
I can't think of it either, but there's some really interesting data. She sent that out in late November, but I just found it. And so to refresh everybody, I will resend those resources to the board.
Thank you, Trustee Adams, for resending that. And I just want to thank the Equity Committee as well. We had an equity audit that we did in the district, and they are taking that audit and using it to set their agenda and make sure that we are meeting the best opportunities that we have to ensure equity across all students in Spring ISD. So great work. Thank you to our committees. Our next item is the consent agenda. So I'll now entertain a motion to approve and adopt any of the items listed on tonight's consent agenda.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve and adopt all of the items listed on the consent agenda.
Second. Is that your comment? It's been moved by trustee Adams and seconded by trustee Correa that the Board of Trustees approve and adopt all the items listed on tonight's consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, the Board of Trustees will now recess this open session and convene in a closed session meeting in accordance with Texas Open Meeting Act, Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 5510821. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of the discussion in the closed meeting will take place after the board reconvenes in open session, and the time is now 8:42 p.m. We will now reconvene and resume the regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees, and the time is now 11:33 p.m. We will now address the items discussed during closed session. Are there any motions?
Madam President, I move that the board approve the recommendation of the superintendent as presented in closed session to propose the termination of the employment contracts of the following employees and authorize the superintendent or designee to provide each employee notice of the proposed action and his or her rights under Chapter 21 of the Texas Education Code. Carrie Mullis and Vanessa Rios.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Adams and seconded by trustee Hodges that the board approve the recommendation of the superintendent as presented in closed session to propose the termination of employees' contracts of the following employees and to authorize the superintendent or designee to provide each employee notice of the proposed action and his or her rights under Chapter 21 of the Texas Education Code. Carrie Mullis and Vanessa Rios. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Are there any other motions?
Madam President, I move that the board declare the probationary contract of Donia Mingo to be void pursuant to Chapter 21 of the Texas Education Code and to approve the termination of his employment with Spring ISD for inappropriate communications with the student, effective immediately. I further move that the board authorize the superintendent of schools or designee to notify this employee of the action taken by the board.
For a second?
Second.
Hearing no second, that motion fails.
I apologize. It's inappropriate.
Okay, we'll make that change and then she'll restate it.
We're gonna just amend. Madam President, I move that we amend the motion that's.
Was never seconded.
Okay. I second that.
Madam President, I move that the board declare the probationary contract of Donia Mingo to be void pursuant to Chapter 21 of the Texas Education Code and approve the termination of his employment with Spring ISD for inappropriate physical discipline with a student, effective immediately. I further move that the board authorize the superintendent of schools or designee to notify this employee of the action taken by the board.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Jensen and seconded by trustee Adams that the board declare the probationary contract of Dominia Mingo to be void pursuant to Chapter 21 of the Texas Education Code and approve the termination of his employment with Spring ISD for inappropriate physical discipline with a student effective immediately. I further move that the board authorize the superintendent of schools or designee to notify this employee of the action taken by the board. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. Are there any other motions?
Madam President, I move that the board issue a school district teaching permit to the following employee, Manuel Luna, for the purpose of teaching non-core career and technology courses, and to authorize the superintendent or designee to notify the Commissioner of Education of the board's action.
For a second.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Newhouse and seconded by trustee McDaniel that the board issue a school district teaching permit to the following employee, Manuel Luna, for the purpose of teaching non-core career and technology courses, and to authorize the superintendent or designee to notify the Commissioner of Education of the board's action. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. Are there any other motions?
Madam President, I move that the board approve the recommendation of the superintendent as presented in closed session to rescind the proposed termination of the employment contract of the following employee, Gaazi Fryer, and to authorize the superintendent or designee to provide each employee notice of the board's action.
I second the motion.
Thank you, Dr. Jensen. It's been moved by trustee Newhouse and seconded by trustee Jensen that the board approve the recommendation of the superintendent as presented in closed session to rescind the proposed termination of the employee contract of the following employee, Gayasi Fry, and to authorize the superintendent or designee to provide the employee with notice of the board's action. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. Are there any other motions?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve resolution of the matter Stiles Spring ISD versus Nicole Clark, docket number 023-LH-11-2022, and authorize the superintendent of schools to execute an agreement according to the terms discussed in closed session.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Hodges and seconded by trustee Adams that the board approve resolution of the matter Stiles Spring ISD versus Nicole Clark, docket number 023-LH-11-2022, and authorize the superintendent of schools to execute an agreement according to the terms discussed in closed session. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. Do we have any other motions?
Madam President, I move that the board approve the contract for the purchase of approximately 1.72 acres along TC Jester Boulevard within restricted Reserve E, Cornerstone Village North, Section 2, and authorize the superintendent of schools to execute the contract and any other documents necessary for the purchase of the property.
Second.
Been moved by trustee Correa and seconded by trustee Hodges that the board approve the contract for the purchase of approximately 1.72 acres along TC Jester Boulevard within restricted Reserve E, Cornerstone Village North, Section 2, and authorize the superintendent of schools to execute the contract and any other documents necessary for the purchase of the property. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Are there any other motions?
Madam President, I move that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
Trustee McDaniels. It's been moved by trustee McDaniels and seconded by trustee Newhouse that we adjourn tonight's meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. And motion carries unanimously, and we adjourn tonight's meeting at 11:42 PM.